can't hear me, huh? Let's see. What is wrong? Okay, how about now? Red. Can you hear me now? Everything is plugged in. Output. How about now? Okay, good. And guess what? I just saw how to share my screen on YouTube Studios. So Streamlabs, I think. I'm going to delete that thing. Okay. Hi, Beetle. Hi, y'all. Okay. So I'm just going to start all over, and I'm probably not even going to say the same thing. So it's going to be like new. All new. Screw Streamlabs. Okay. Reps and sets and why it's importante. Importante. I wish I had my Portuguese like my mama. Okay. So I was gonna wait a minute, but I'm not gonna wait anymore because I got stuff to do and I can't be on here all day. And I'm only kid free for a few hours. So reps and sets and why they're important. Most of the time, you will see people go into the gym and do random reps, random sets, or so this is something I didn't say the first time in the video that I deleted, so you won't even know. So you had to be there. Fitness classes, like group classes, you're all doing the same number of reps and sets, right? And generally the same tempo. So, or let's say you're in opening a fitness magazine, it's a very random rep range. Usually, and this I did say in the other one, is between like 8 to 10 reps, usually 3 to 4 sets is the standard generic workout you're going to see, right? Very rarely will you see something that is much different from that rep range or set range. And very rarely will they tell you to control your speed. They most of the time won't even mention tempo or speed. They'll just say to do it. And then on top of that, the icing on the cake, they're not even going to tell you to pause, or they'll briefly highlight over that portion when that portion is super critical in the movement, is to pause when you're changing direction. So there's a lot of components that aren't taught, so it's not your fault. You need to be taught, and that's why I'm here. But a lot of the times people just don't know, so they go into the gym and they just do the standard 3 or 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps at a whatever speed feels comfortable, whatever range of motion, so however high or low or how much their muscle expands, how much they stretch it out is comfortable, but very rarely do they push the bill or do it the right way to get a very specific result. And so, like for a lot of people, when they tell me that they do something like a group class or some exercise they found, exercise workout plan or workout that they found online, I'm hesitant to be happy for them in a way because most often than not, it's not going to service them the way that it should. Group classes, it's not that they're bad, but it's geared to for calorie burn. Okay, so the goal for that business, it's a business, is to make you feel like you got a great workout. Okay, yes, to burn calories, and hopefully in the end, you see an awesome transformation they can post. But I would love to see a group fitness class that has 10, 12, 20, 30, 100, 200, 300 people that they've transformed the bodies of with a fitness class, even Zumba. give me the shape of someone, give me an example of someone that's done Zumba. They might have lost a lot of weight, but do they like their shape? And so I like to kind of compare this to back when I was anorexic and bulimic in high school. I was skinny, but I was skinny fat. I did not like my shape. So even though my body weight on the scale was low, 105 pounds, I didn't like how I looked, and rightfully so. I looked like a 12-year-old boy. So you have to ask yourself, does the number on the scale matter the most to me? Or does my shape matter the most to me? And most often than not, when you get really honest with yourself and you break it down, it's not the scale, it's your shape. It's how you feel in your clothes. It's how you look in your clothes. It's, do you like the way you look in pictures, or are you slumped over, or do you have no curves to you? Are you a man and you look like a girl? So if you then are honest with yourself, I would say 99.9% of us care a lot about how we're shaped. Yes, we want to be healthy, and that a lot. I mean, I could show you a bunch of people that are in shape but not healthy, but that's a different story on a different day. But generally speaking, you have someone that likes their shape, they're generally very healthy, so they go hand in hand, right? So if we want our shape, really, if that's our goal, is to like our shape, how do we create shape? How do we stimulate shape? And so for me, when I first started this so long ago, I was just a peanut. No, I wasn't I should share that picture though. I didn't think I was born with abs. I'm not even kidding you. I thought I didn't have abs. I thought I wasn't created with them. Because if I was anorexic and bulimic, skinny, like 105 pounds, if I couldn't see abs, then when was I ever going to see abs? Definitely not in my head if I was weighing more than that, right? And I think a lot of us feel that way too. If that scale goes up, there's no way that I'm going to see abs. Not true. But so I asked myself, okay, well, how do I change my shape then? Because I was in the gym with my husband, Mr. Mustard, at the time for hours. He would do every single exercise known to man for that body part that you could imagine. And I didn't have that much time to be in the gym. It's his happy place. That's cool. I like it. It's fun, but I can't. I got too much to do, especially being a mama. Not that I was a mama then, but so I wanted to learn, okay, how can I be efficient at this? So when you look into how muscle is stimulated or shaped, you'll find that there's 3 different muscle fibers. Hi, Carly. That's my girl. So sidetrack squirrel. When I wanted to learn how to change my shape, the biggest thing I wanted to change was I was quad dominant. So I was all steak, no potatoes. I had no booty. I wanted to change that. I wanted a booty. And I didn't want to be super big in the upper body. I didn't want to look manly. But I wanted to have nice shoulder caps and nice arms. I didn't want to, flap in the wind. So you come to find out, okay, there's different muscle fibers that are different, stimulated in different ways. And so this is where I wanted to actually share. I don't know if I can. I think I can do it from up here. Oh, I'm so scared to press a button and mess this up. But how can I do this? I really should have. Well, anyway, so you have 3 different muscle fibers. You have type 1. That's how I'll do it. Okay. Marathon runner. and sprinter. Okay. We're going to bring this guy up. And we're going to share our screen here. Tell me you can see this. I'm going to give it a second while I go in here on my. Okay, you can totally see it. Awesome sauce. Look it. I'm sharing my screen with y'all. I'm no longer JLR in it. You are totally seeing things. And you see me in the corner, you guys. Oh, this is easier than I thought. Oh, awesome. Okay. So this is amazing. Okay, so you see this marathon runner, right? And all I did was search like marathon runner and sprinters. So you could just look that up. Two totally different body styles. Am I right? Totally different body styles. Hi, Carly. So totally different muscle fibers are being stimulated. This is type 1. Okay. He looks like a 1. Right? This is type 2 to type it's 2A and 2X muscle fibers. Okay. They use very different fuel sources. And you can probably imagine why. This guy looks like he needs a hamburger, a lot of hamburgers with some cheese and some mayonnaise and ranch and fries and a lot of food, right? He has this is what I looked like when I was anorexic and bulimic. Lots of type 1. Lots of type 1. Lots of it makes lots of type 1. This now I don't want to look like a man, but I want shape. Right? I want a booty. I want like my one butt cheek to look like that. Right there, kind of. Like just bam. Right? Just like I want both of them. I don't want just one of them to be like that because that would be weird. I want both of my butt cheeks to be like round and perky like that. So obviously we should maybe look at a girl's butt cheeks to start comparing that and desiring that maybe so it's not so weird. But for you males, right? You don't want to look like this. Ew. Sorry, guy, who this is from Finland. You want this, obviously, with the other leg fully attached. It's behind him. Just so you know, he's not one-legged. He has 2. Just so you know. But so this guy sprints. So fuel source is different. This guy is a marathon runner. Fuel source is different. One is oxidative. One uses like glucose. So one uses oxygen. One uses basically like sugar. What are y'all saying? Maybe 3? Maybe 3 what? I missed it. But anyway, so this guy uses oxygen when he converts energy into ATP. And this guy uses glucose. So how does that matter? And why does that matter to you in the gym? Because no one likes running, right? No one likes it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and you're going to get all of me for a minute. And I am going to show you how that matters. So your body, every single muscle, your shoulders, your chest, your back, your butt. It's really hard to talk, think, and show you everything that I'm trying to show you. Let's see here. That's not what I want to show you. Let's go. I'll just show you this. Type 1, type muscle fibers. I'll show you the different ones. Because I had like a whole diagram for you, but you know what? We'll just do this because it's easier. Share screen. I do want to share my screen with these people. Yes, I do. I promise. Oh, ready, set, put on your seatbelts. Okay. So, runner, power lifter. 3 different muscle. Oh, you know what? It didn't give me what I wanted here. I just want that image. I just want to show you this. I don't want to confuse you. I just want you to see this picture of how it looks when you bust it out. If you were to like cut your body open, or if someone did. Okay. This slow twitch. Okay. So this is a marathon runner. This is what it would look like in your body, the muscle fiber, more for endurance, more for that marathon runner. See up here, aerobic oxidative metabolism. Fast twitch, that's your power lifter, heavier lifting. The difference between these two is it's going to sound really weird, but the guy with the big has the least amount of glycogen in it, like available to pull. That's not going to come out right. So yeah, that didn't come out right. So it's not meant for long distance, right? You have less glycogen available for longer periods of time. It's best used for short spurts. So even though it's a bigger looking muscle, it has less glycogen to it. That's why when you start to do a ton of reps, let's say you start doing 20 reps in the gym, you can't go as heavy, 1, but 2, you start stimulating this marathon runner's muscle fiber, okay? Not the big dense muscle fiber, okay? So why does that matter? Well, we don't want to look like a 12-year-old boy. So if you want shape in your shoulders, if you want shape in your booty, like I want that guy's shoulders in my booty, that sounds bad too. Sorry, Mr. Mustard, that's not what I meant. But like if you want to change your shape, you have to use the right tools. And so that means stimulating the right muscle fiber for that muscle group. So to tie all that back around, if you are doing a group class or random rep ranges, you are going to be targeting random muscle fibers, which means you are going to have random density levels in random body parts. So you have to be very intentional then. Okay, I don't want a big upper body, so I'm not going to do a ton of heavy upper body lifts. But I also don't want no shape to my shoulder. I don't want no shape to my body. I want to have a little bit of muscle tone, but that doesn't mean I just do Mr. Marathon Runner's workout, right? Because he has nothing. He looked like he needed a burger in his bicep, let alone his body. So you have to utilize everything. Plus, on top of that, if you neglect a muscle fiber, let's say you don't want big shoulders, so you never lift heavy in your shoulders, you're going to create an opportunity for injury. Does that mean you're leaving, Beetle? Or does that mean hi? Hi, bye. So you don't want to neglect a certain rep range just because you want to look a certain way. So then again, it makes it so you have to be even more specific. Okay, hi. Good. So that's why when I design my workouts for my clients, I am designing these every 7 to 10 days depending on how their body is shaping up. Some body parts for some people, like Girls are lucky that just their booty responds. Men with chests that just go, they're lucky for the men part, right? Because the men want the big chest to make it look like they're, wearing their armor and stuff. So there's certain things that are genetic. About 45% of your like your muscular makeup of how much of each muscle fiber you have for each muscle group is determined by your genetics. But that means that more than half is determined by what you're freaking doing. So you can really change your body structure, which I've learned over the years, by being intentional in the gym, not just winging it in the gym. So how do we do that? So I'll get a little more specific and not be so confusing because I'm not going off of notes here. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, right? Like this is all just things that I've learned and know and implement for all of my clients. I don't know if y'all saw Xavier. He is, I don't know if I can get on Instagram from here to me, but if you haven't checked out my Instagram with Xavier, that's what I love to do is body composition changes because like I said, I always thought I was stuck with the body that I had. And I found out that it's going to make me log in. I don't want to log in. Okay, here. If it blasts music at you, I'm apologizing in advance. Here we go. Window. Yes, I want to share with them. Stop. Okay, this is my Instagram. That's my babies. Okay, here we go. Here we not go. Okay, it's this one. You know what? Maybe if I go backwards and I go forwards, what I might be able to do. Okay, so before it asks me to log in, do you see him right there? Do you guys see that? Dun, 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 dun. Recomping the body. Now, the photo on the right, that's not even his leanest. Okay, this right now, he's clear across the world. He got deployed about a month ago. And so he's got we're trying to build back up even more. We're trying to change more shape in this off season. So that is like fluffy for him. Okay. We're a little over a month post show for him. He's had a lot of snacks. Lots of snacks. Yeah, so that's fluffy for him. Okay. But we restructured his physique. So one of the things I had to build on Xavier, sorry, Xavier, I know you don't mind me using you as an example. But one of the things we restructured on him was his shoulders and his chest. Those are a big thing. His back. The first show that we did, so you got to think your body is like a construction site now, right? So if you're going to create a building that you're proud of, that you love the shape, but you want to show off, you only have so much time in the day to do it, to build it. You only have so many boards or food and protein, right? And fat and hormones and energy. And your body still has to do other things like digest and kill off bacteria and, deal with stress and all kinds of stuff. So it still has other things to do. It doesn't just sit there and go, making Xavier's body. It has other things it's got to do. So you have to focus, I would say, on one or two things that you want to change in your shape. For me, the last 10 years, it's been my butt. My booty is really the biggest thing, and just making my legs and my glutes proportional to each other. Like I said, I was all steak, no potatoes. So I actually didn't train my quads for several years so that they would atrophy down and become kind of bring them up with my glutes. So what you train in the gym is very important. If there's a body part you don't want to grow, I don't recommend completely neglecting it, but do not do things to stimulate that growth. Don't go do a group class that has, like, let's say you have huge quads and you want your potatoes. Don't go in there doing, squats. Well, but yeah, I mean, you can do some squats, but again, they've got to be quad or glute focused. Most of the time in a group class, you're just squatting till maybe the point where you're about to sit on a chair, and that is quad dominant. Most people don't know that. Um, or, lunges, unless you are doing a long enough stride, you're going to build the quads. Now let's go more for the guys. Chest. If you are only training your chest once a week, chances are you are missing the boat. The chest, you can honestly, it's a big enough muscle, you could train it 2 times a week, maybe 2 times a week. Yes, maybe more. I wouldn't recommend more. Very few people will benefit from more with the chest because it's not quite like the legs where you can target it on a more frequent basis and be able to recover and still build. Because that's the other thing. If you are overly sore or, broken down, basically, your body can't repair from that point. Um, by the next time you need to train it to keep that stimulus. So, what you train, how you, so back up, what you want to look like. Pick that first. Pick those 1 or 2 things that you want to bring up, shape up. Maybe look at a picture. I always recommend cutting your head off. So it sounds funky, but anytime I see a picture of myself, if I can see my face, it's a terrible picture. I will not like my physique at all. If I cut my face off, not literally, but just on the picture, I will give my body a shot. So maybe cut your face off in a photo and see what on your body you want to fix, what you want to shape. Maybe draw on it. Okay, I want a little bit bigger shoulders here, or I want my waistline to go in here like this. I want to have more of an hourglass shape like this, or I want a bigger chest for you guys, or bigger back, or whatever it might be. Pick those 1 or 2 muscle groups. And if it's size that you're trying to put on, then you need to target your 2X muscle fibers. So again, you have type 1, type 2A, and type 2X. And 2X is that sprinter. So it's that power lifter muscle. So probably can guess the reps and sets, the reps themselves, the rep range are going to be small, right? Think of them small for a sprint, right? But the funny thing is you're not going to be doing these heavy lifts fast. You need to go slow. So with anything, one of the ways that you build muscle with any of the muscle fibers is time under tension. So the amount of time that muscle is put under the tension of the weight load, the stimulus, whatever you've got, whether it's body weight, gravity, plate loaded machine, free weight, whatever. The amount of time that muscle has to hold that weight is going to be one of the factors that generates or stimulates the muscle to change. If you don't have an adequate amount of time under tension for that specific muscle fiber, you will not get cellular fatigue. And cellular fatigue is that common thing coined in the gym as going to failure, right? And a lot of people think that going to failure means you can't lift the weight anymore, but it's actually not true. Yes, that is failure of the muscle, but that alone is where you're going to start risking injury. And in my opinion and my expertise, isn't conducive to changing the physique. Most of the time, you're going to end up injured and out. So, to safely do this, and really all you really need to do to stimulate those micro trauma tears in the muscle fiber that you need to get that time under tension, is with your speed, your tempo. So for a very dense muscle fiber like the type 2X, where you're going to see the biggest visual change in your muscle. So it's that dense sprinter muscle, the big muscle. You need to keep a rep range between generally one, right? That power lifter, that 1 rep max, up to about 8. 8 is pushing it. 8, you start getting into that middle muscle fiber, which is your type 2A. And your type 2A has, it does a little bit of both that marathon muscle, right? The type 1, where it's oxidative and uses oxygen for fuel, right? And meant for endurance. And has a little bit of that type 2X. So it's got its foot in both. You're not going to see as much visual change as you do type 2X, that big, heavy, muscle fiber one, right? But you are going to see some density, some change. So with the 2X, if you're keeping it between 1 to 8 reps, you need to make sure that the tempo is adequate, that you're drawing out all of the muscle glycogen in that muscle, which is then what creates that cellular fatigue. You have fatigued the muscle of all of its energy. Okay. It's tired. So by going slower, you are allowing yourself to hit a lower rep range, which then allows you to go heavier, which is conducive to this type 2X muscle fiber, but also then pulls out all the glycogen. If you go too fast with, let's say, 4 reps, 2 reps, 5 reps, even 8 reps, you are not going to draw out, you're not going to have enough time under tension to draw out enough of that glycogen because there's not a lot of reps. Just because you do 6 doesn't mean you fatigue that muscle out. And so that muscle fiber out. So what happens a lot of the times when I've got my guys in the gym and I come in here and I miss Mama Bear walking through and I see them going fast on something they should be going slow. When I slow their roll and they have to really control the weight, 9 times out of 10, they have to go lighter. And as much as of a punch to the gut as this is, especially with a female coming up and saying this, I'm sorry, but they start to appreciate it because they just gained so much more than what they lost by dropping down to a lighter weight. And let me say why. If you're starting out using 30 pounds, trying to really create some density change, right? Like on something like a shoulder press or whatever. And that's like your PR. But you're not getting that cellular fatigue. You're wasting your time in the gym. If I take your weight down, go slower, get all that glycogen out. Now, what you were lifting, now when you do get to that, imagine the gains you're actually going to see on that weight. Right? And then that just means you just expanded your playing field tenfold right there. Because now what wasn't stimulating change for you will. And what was unreasonable for you to need to lift to see change is now brought back down to a more reasonable level, right? Because instead of using all these different muscles and these different tempos and speeds just to get the weight up, you're actually using just that muscle fiber, pulling out all that glycogen and really stimulating that change, which is the cool thing. So that's type 2X. So you need to go slow. Well, how slow? Generally speaking, about 4 to 5 seconds on the eccentric. So the eccentric portion is when you are releasing the muscle. So when it is not contracting, it is loosening up. So on a bicep curl, it's when you're going down. On a squat, when you're going down. On a shoulder press, when you're going down. Hey, every time when you're going down. It's not always when you're going down, but generally speaking. So when that muscle is not contracting is where you really want to control the tempo, and where a lot of the gains you'll see when you go into a gym is missed. You'll see everybody does the same fast speed because they want to get through it. So 4 to 5 seconds. Sets, how many sets though? Because you got to fatigue that fiber out, right? Well, it depends on how many reps you're aiming for, how many reps you're going for. Some of my clients, I will have them do some more powerlifting type lifts on some occasions, depending on the shape that we're looking to stimulate. So sometimes they'll have 5, 6, 7 sets of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps. The general consensus, I would say, for that muscle fiber is you're going to want to, for one compound movement, you're going to want to target somewhere between, I'd say like 15, maybe 10 to 20 total reps for all of your sets for heavy lifts. And I'm talking super controlled. You're not bouncing at the bottom. You're not using any other, you're not digging in your feet to get the weight up. You're not pushing off of a pad. You're using solely that muscle for the most part. I mean, you're obviously going to have some secondary muscles come into play with back. You're going to get some bicep. With chest, you're going to get some tricep. With, glutes, you're going to get some quads. But for the most part, you're getting that mind muscle connection, and it is that muscle that is doing the movement and moving the weight. So if I were to pick, let's say I were to go into the gym and I wanted to build my booty and it was a density day, I would probably go in and pick 2, I'd probably pick 2 real compound movements, 4 to 5 sets. You're going to do more sets, right, to get all that time under tension in. But your reps are going to be a lot lower. So if I'm doing really low reps, I'm going to need to do a lot more sets. If I'm doing middle rep range, 4 or 5, I can do less sets. If I'm doing 8, right, I'm tapping that higher end of that rep range for that muscle fiber, I can do 4 or 5 sets. Once I start getting into 2 or 3 sets, it's not going to be adequate time under tension for that weight load and that tempo to pull out all of the muscle glycogen to then stimulate muscle growth and change. Does this all have to be perfect to see change? Like, do you have to have like your science cue card in the back and go, okay, 4 times 6 times 5, no. The body is super amazing. God is really cool with, consistency over time. You're going to look like how you're lifting. So if you're in there and you're lifting heavy and you're lifting controlled and you're doing your best and your reps and your sets are somewhere within these ranges, you're good. Okay. But this is if I just, if you want like the golden nugget here of what is, hi Mo. I need to change everybody. If you want to, hold on, now I'm multitasking. Fudge. Usually I do this with children. Hi, Wilson. I have a client calling me. You should be on the live, client. He's in Florida though, so he doesn't probably know we're live right now. So if you're somewhere in the ballpark, you're going to stimulate that muscle fiber. Let's say though, you don't want something super dense. You want to add just a little bit of size, is what your focus is. Let's say to maybe shoulders or to biceps or triceps or whatever. You could do that middle muscle fiber we were talking about, your type 2A muscle fiber. And so that does, like I said, a little bit of both. The rep range for this is going to be between, can anyone guess? Right? It's like right above the, it's in the middle of the other, right? 10 to 20. Okay. Generally for about 3 to 4 sets. Okay. Now your tempo, your speed for this, because you're doing more reps, you already right off the bat have more time under tension available right off the get-go. So you can go a little bit faster too, right? You don't have to slow it down to really draw everything out because you're doing a lot more anyway. So generally speaking, between 2 to 3, sometimes 4 seconds, really, if I'm really trying to focus, you can do about that for about 3 to 4 sets. And you're really going to be able to, at the end of that, stimulate that muscle fiber, pull all that glycogen out, use all that oxygen, and really get that cellular fatigue. Now, if you're using a body part that you don't really want to grow, but you still need to sort of maintain, or you want that old man muscle, it's still important, y'all. It's good for stabilizing. I still do them. It's good for fatiguing the muscle in general out. I use it a lot, so I'll explain that in a minute. But higher rep ranges, that's your type 1 muscle fiber. Anyone that's trying to change their body will not be focusing on a workout that is all high reps. And I know that's what's sold to a lot of women all the time is like, just go in and do lightweight high reps. You'll be skinny. And you'll look like that old man. And no girl wants to look like that. We want to look like females, right? With shape. The shape where we want it though. So again, intentional. So for a type 1 muscle fiber, when we do want to target it, when we do need to use it, that's going to be your higher reps, faster movement. You can do smaller sets, 1 to 2 sets. Oftentimes, this is when my clients will be calling me going, Lindsay, are you serious? You have 2 sets of 60 in here for me to do today? And I gaggle and laugh evilly, if that's not a word. But yes, it's true. But sometimes I'm using this technique, though, to, like I said, really just send that muscle in its entirety just out the window, just like totally just annihilate it, right? Just to send you home like Bambi, just to laugh. No, not really. It does benefit. It is helpful when you're targeting those other muscle fibers to still throw in a type 1 exercise at the end. But if you're doing a workout solely on type 1 where everything is high rep, everything is fast, everything is, 2 sets, maybe 3. What does this kind of sound like to you? a group class because it's calorie burn. That's all it is. It's not to change your shape, which is why when people tell me they're going to go do a group class, I'm excited if that's what they're doing to get up and get going and just to start. But once you've started, you're doing yourself a disservice because there's no intentionality behind it. And every human being is so unique and so different. So your body shape, your hormones, your stress levels, your time, the time that you have to work out every day is different. How your body responds is different. My girlfriend is just as like white girl as me. I mean, my mom is Brazilian, but like my girl Kelly, she has a booty and she is so tiny, and yet her booty has always been there. It's frustrating. But for me, it doesn't exist. So again, me and Kelly can't have the same workouts. You know, me and Red and Mo, we can't have the same workouts. Now, can we do the same exercises? Sometimes. But it's just like baking a cake. You have to have the right ingredients to bake your cake. Don't bake someone else's cake and then expect to look like your cake, right? Because you have different ingredients. You can't do the same things with different ingredients, right? That kind of makes sense. You know what I'm getting at, that analogy, right? So now that I've explained all three in kind of like 100-yard overview, when do we do them? And I say that obviously, yes, when we want certain size changes or shape changes in our body, but I also told you not to neglect anything, right? So how often and when? So that's where frequency comes into play. My booty is here to stay. I'm jealous, Mo. Yeah, frequency. So certain body parts, like I was saying with like the chest and the legs, you can train more than once a week. Now there's some you train them too much because of the basically like the ratio of type 1, 2A, and 2X muscle fibers that they have. Every body part's a little bit different. So like your legs have a lot more 2X muscle fiber than your biceps do. But they all have different ratios in there, and because they all have different functions, right? Your arms aren't meant to carry your whole body. So of course your lower legs are going to need something that can be, exert more force when needed. Like running from a bear, right? You're not going to do that on your hands unless you have to. So frequency is going to so your not frequency. So your muscle that you're trying to focus on is going to need to be taken into consideration. If it's a smaller muscle like the biceps, the triceps, the shoulders, the most you're really going to be able to train those to bring those up to speed is going to be like 2 times a week. Anything more than that, and you're going to be tearing down more muscle than you can repair. Okay. And that's simply because it's not meant for that kind of weight stimulant. You know what I mean? Like again, you're not going to be running from a bear on your arms. It's not mechanically meant for that, right? Now your legs, you can kind of break up into front and back. So you've got quads, you've got glutes, you've got hamstrings, you've got calves. So if you wanted to focus on all of those and bring your entire leg up, let's say you have to work, let's say you're one of those guys that skips leg day, and then you realized That was a bad move on so many levels. So many levels. Anyway. So now you have to bring your legs back up to speed. Okay. Cool thing is you could break your legs up and train and like really focus on building the quads, you know, two days a week, and then building the glutes, because guys, you need glutes too. Do not neglect the glutes. One, it's your hips. Okay. It's not your butt, it's your hips. And your hips are like the center point to so many things, including your deadlift. So if you want to be Mr. Deadlift Daddy, like McDaddy in the gym, and be like, "Rah," don't skip your legs, don't skip your booty day, because that will, and especially if you're a sprinter, like if you do like running and you like to sprint, which kudos to you, hip thrusts. Okay. You want to really strengthen those hip flexors. And I'm telling you, it's going to excel so many other areas of your body, because your hips are literally the center of your body. They're involved in so many different things, but it'll help prevent a ton of injury. Anyway, so your legs, you could break up the quads twice a week. You could do the glutes 2, 3. I mean, quads you could even do 3 times a week. Glutes you could do 3 times a week. Calves they're a little bit smaller, so maybe 2, 3 times a week. But I mean, you could pretty much be hitting legs every single day, generally in a sense. You could do quads and then glutes and then quads and then glutes. Now, if you're really targeting that muscle pretty hard, I do recommend waiting 48 hours or a little bit longer before you train it again. So that means you've got to start planning out your workouts. You can't just walk into the gym and go, "Oh, what do I feel like?" No, it's what have I trained? What do I need to train? And that's what's next. So which brings me to the point of why you want to go into a gym and do the whole bodybuilder workout, right? Where I'm doing biceps today, guys. Yeah, that's like the bodybuilder like style. But the reason why is because most of you guys don't have hours to spend at the gym. And so if you don't have hours to spend at the gym, you've got to make the most of your time. And if you're going to make the most of your time, you need to target one thing so that it's actually stimulated efficiently, so that you actually see change, so that you're actually getting a result, which is the change that I just said. But that's what I mean. I was just saying it again, I guess. But that's why. So when you see a bunch of people going into the gym and they're just dedicated and they're there every single day, but they're just winging it, and they don't look any different a year later, even a month later, well, that's why. It's random. It's not stimulating physical change. And so get the being lean out the window. Just let's say you're lean. If you don't like your shape, who cares? No one wants to look like that old man, that skinny old man, right? So who cares if you're lean if you still don't like it, right? It's kind of like, who cares if you have money if you're dead? Same sort of thing. Who cares if you're lean if you don't like your shape? You're still going to be miserable. So let's build a shape that you like. And in that time frame of building that shape, you're stimulating muscle. And as you're stimulating muscle, guess what? Muscle utilizes at minimum, literally, like, so, well, at minimum 30%, or I think it's like 40. I'll have to double check. 30 to 40% of your like metabolism. And you got to think too, like, you're just existing. And if you were to lay in bed, you're burning hundreds of calories just existing, which is why vegetable people still eat, through a tube, but they still eat. Because your body still needs stuff to run and function, right? To do what it needs to do. But then add muscle on top of that, actual muscle, not old man, marathon runner man. He has no muscle. He has none. He's skinny. He eats burger. Okay. So more muscle means more calories are being expended every single day. So as you're actually stimulating muscle to be toned and to grow and to create the shape that you want, you're actually increasing your metabolic capacity. How much you can burn in a day, which thus will increase how much you can eat in a day and stay lean, which then just makes it even more easier to stay on track because you're not having to starve yourself to look like marathon runner man because he doesn't eat a burger. And that sucks. I like burgers. I like cheese. You don't even want to know what I ate last night after Nove went live. My kids ate, so it was time for them to ask me the every nighttime dinner question that is so important to them. Mom, can we have dessert? So I was ready for dessert because Nove had his brownie and that just looked amazing. So I went and fixed me a brownie with some peanut butter and chocolate Tillamook ice cream. And I doused it in chocolate syrup with my favorite like cup full of rainbow sprinkles. And I ate it till I was sick to my stomach. Not even kidding you. And then I woke up this morning and I was a pound less than I was yesterday. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to pay for this calorie spike. I have to work it off, but I was in here this morning doing my workout using that fuel for my workout, which I needed more than anything because my kids are still sick and they're keeping me up all night and all day long. And it's like, it's so hard, dude, to hear a 8-month-old baby with like the mucus that's stuck right here and they can't get it up. And so they like gag and throw up. And it's so hard because you're like trying to like, come on, you can do it. You know, but he doesn't get it. And so he just gets frustrated and then he can't sleep. It's just, we've got humid. It looks like my house, like I've got a chain smoker in my house because I have humidifiers in every room. We're taking showers nonstop. In fact, I need to go get more eucalyptus bath bombs. But it's just, I'm exhausted. So my body is craving sugar. It is craving sugar like nothing else. It's really bad. And I'm indulging. So, but my muscle, this is a cool thing. Did you know that your muscle is like a trash can for excess sugars in your blood? So when I decided to almost vomit my ice cream yesterday, I didn't. That sounded bad. When I almost felt like it because I ate so much of it. In fact, I didn't even finish it. It was that too sweet. But all that extra sugar that went into my blood that my body could not handle goes into my muscles. And then that's where I go and I lift and I get a lot of that out. Doesn't mean I can go and work off a bad diet. That won't happen. No. You can't do that. Calories will stack. But the more muscle you have, the more calories you can take in and stay lean because it's constantly 24/7 burning calories just to be on your body. You will see, in fact, it's one of the coolest things. Sean wrote in He was a good friend of ours. He's passed away since then. We've got a huge picture of him up front. He's just like, I should show you guys this man. The nicest man. Oh my gosh. Things aren't working on my screen and it's going to drive me insane. Okay. Sean Roden. This is a better picture of him. We'll do him justice. Probably not good. It says Mr. Olympia Sean Roden dead at 46. Yeah, that's not. But I'll show you. See, that's a video. We don't want to do all that. Instagram's a good one. La la. Or is it going to ask me to log in again? All right, let's share the screen again. Okay. That's my friend. He has since passed away. Okay. This is a big ball of muscle, right? Sean, when he would be at our house, he would just be sweating sometimes because it just took so much for him to just exist there. It was so much energy being expended at one time just for him to maintain all this muscle. Legit. And he was almost always like, I mean, this is stage ready lean, but he was always like lean. He was always, he wouldn't have a big old belly or anything like that. He was always pretty cut. Okay. And he would just like sometimes just sweat just because his body was just burning. Now, do you need to be like that to like burn muscle or fat constantly? Absolutely not. But the more you have, if you have them in the right spots, so you have the right shape, the easier it's going to be to maintain a low body fat percentage, which is then going to mean your insulin sensitivity is better, your health is better. You know, don't do steroids, obviously, because that doesn't help. And there's other factors, like Sean had a lot of health issues that led to his early passing and a lot of choices that he made, in my opinion. And we all die sometime, you know, and not to say that if you're fit, you're not going to die, but, or like young, but as far as like building your body how you want to look while you're here in a safe way and in the fastest way, you need to be intentional with your workouts. What you're working out, how often you're working it out, and then what your set range is, right? What you're trying to stimulate, what size. So that's going to then determine your set range, your rep range, and your tempo. I don't think I said the tempo for the type 1, the marathon muscle, but it's like basically fast. It's like 1 second, 1 to 2 seconds. It's like, you know, and then you can even dig deeper down the rabbit hole of muscle. And that's where you can get into other factors to make sure that you're really benefiting from the exercise with your form, yes, with tempo, but also, like I said, pausing before you change directions, making sure you're not utilizing other things that you don't need to use in order to get the weight up. But there's other factors that then can maximize on those rep ranges and set ranges and make it even more effective so that you're spending less time in the gym and you're getting faster results. But yeah, frequency. So first determining your goal, what you want to change in your shape, where you want to change it. If it's a smaller muscle or a larger muscle, that's going to determine how often you train it each week. And then I don't think I got into how you're going to mix all three muscle fibers, which is, I think, going to be the cherry on the top. So when you find out all those first things, you decide those, then you're going to need to decide how it best fits in your schedule. Iceman, no freaking way. How's it hanging? Long time no see. Look it, I'm real. Dang. It's been a long time. But why is Wilson laughing? I feel like there's an inside joke. I don't know. How the hell? I know. It's like the old crew here. Welcome to we need like a club name. You know? Oh, I'm not laughing at you. Oh no, not at all. I just laugh at anything, kind of. Not laughing at you. I'm so glad you're here. How'd you find me? I'm not really findable right now. I'm very low key. Oh, Wilson. That's pretty cool. If I showed up, that's pretty cool. That would be awesome. That would be pretty neat. I won't lie. I'd get a little excited. I did? Thanks, YouTube. Well, welcome. I haven't really like told like I mean I've told so like a lot of my following is old clients and stuff that know all of this. And then I don't even think they even look at my stuff anymore because I didn't post for the longest time and I really just stuck to Instagram. And I really felt like I should start a YouTube and just kind of do like this fitness thing on YouTube because Instagram is so saturated with just fitfluencers that are just the goal is not to help people. And it's just to be like, look at me doing a booty kickback. This is my butt doing the kickback booty. And I don't like it. So this is why I started this because then I could not just do a post and be like, here, and kind of get bypassed. And then also too, I think during COVID, I don't know if I got like blacklisted or something, but all of everything just went tanked on Instagram. So I like didn't get any new people. I lost a lot of people. And then now I just can't really, I mean, I just now tried starting back up again, but I don't really have a ton of traction. So this is pretty cool that I've got some traction on YouTube. Maybe it means I'm doing the right thing. So that's neat. It's really good to see you. So Iceman, you lift. We were talking about some gains. Yeah, we all hang out here now. This is our he lives ponies. I want a pony. I used to have goats. Now they live on a nice little farm, my friend. Because I had to move. You live daily at work. Yeah, the ponies I'm hearing. Hey. Do you actually do exercises though? Like, do you like do squats with a pony on your back? That would be I design. So when my clients go on a camping trip, I design construction. Okay, so like, boards and stuff. You could do lunges with like a 4 by 6 by 10 foot board. Those aren't light, especially if it's, not pine, redwood. If it's redwood, get a redwood 4 by 6 by 10 foot board and do some walking lunges. No supplemental. You probably don't have to. His knee is high. His knee. Do you like your shape, Iceman? That's what we were kind of talking about, is shape. Creating the right shape. I'm so neat. Well, to finish, before I got sidetracked, because Iceman's here, which is, yes, you're okay with your shape. See, then good. You good. So keep doing what you're doing then. But for those that are not, I did say don't neglect all 3 muscle fibers. 6'3", 20. Okay, but 6'3", 220. What's your body fat percentage? Do you know? Are you top heavy? Are you bottom heavy? Oh. I didn't know you were doing acronyms for me, Wilson. I thought you were like, he's neat. I get it. Okay. I'm loading. Anyway, I gotcha. Ghetto booty. I wish I had a ghetto booty. I wish my goal was to tone it down. My husband, Mr. Mustard, has a ghetto booty. Yeah, that was one of the things that attracted me to him. I was like, oh, he has a butt. That's nice. Most guys don't. So keep it. Don't lose it. This is fun. I don't want to go back to what I was talking about. I want to just keep talking to the chat. I do not have the best booty. You should see. Okay, I should show you guys the booties that I'm trying to. Sorry, you're going to see my finger because my mouse doesn't want to work. It's always something. Francielli. So in my division, Mateos. This is the girl that in my division when I compete that I am trying to look like, basically. Let me show you her glutes. They're insane. Let's do this one. She's just okay. Sorry, you see all my finger. Here we go. Francielli. She's the best of the best of the best of my division. That's my goal. Francielli Mateos. She's Brazilian. So lots of density in those glutes. Lots of heavy lifts in those glutes. And you can see she's not overly dominant in her upper body. She's shapely, right? She has muscle, but her lower body is the biggest thing. Is lower body dominant. That's my division as wellness, is kind of like an upside down Y. So that's my goal. Sorry, you're going to see my fingers again. Is France. Yeah. She is. My calves are like that. Yes, I will take the calf compliment. I have worked hard for those babies since I was 4, being on my tippy toes and playing basketball and jumping off of them. So, yeah, I will take the calf thing. But the booty thing, I am working so hard on that right now. So hard. But we'll get there. We will get there. She's just like, she's the best of the best in the whole world. She is Miss Olympia. She competes against everybody, all the top of the best in that division, and she beats them every single year. She is the best of the best. So that is my goal. But that's what creates my workouts in the gym. And then to kind of just finish it off, I guess, before we kind of just chit chat, it would be like, again, when to do all three, even if you, like for me, even though I want to build my glutes, obviously that means I'm going to be doing a lot of heavy lifts, but I can't always do heavy lifts. She has a lot of shape. Oh, I should share it again. She has a lot of shape. Remember, each muscle group has a blend of type 1, type 2A, and type 2X. So even though your glutes are a major muscle group that will be denser and bigger and will hold your upper body so you can train it more frequently, you have a blend of them. So if you don't do the other two muscle fibers that maybe don't have as much visual difference, you're not going to stimulate that muscle fiber to change. And so then you're capping the growth by 2/3 essentially, right? So you want to train all three, but you want to make sure you're focusing and prioritizing the right rep range and set range. So for me, glutes, I'm doing heavy 1 to 2 times a week, right? Because I can train it so frequently, 1 to 2 times a week. And then that other day that I'm going to train glutes is going to be either my type 2A, that medium rep range, medium tempo, to my higher rep, lighter weight, faster movement, so that I get a nice, well-rounded muscle. And that's where bodybuilding comes into play. So that's where you get the look of a power lifter versus someone like Arnold, right? Where he's chiseled and has a lot of definition and it's very shapely. Whereas a power lifter looks like just one rep. Everything is just big. There's no real shape. See how she has like, for some reason my mouse doesn't want to be happy with me. Okay, see how she has that line here? That comes from that type 1, type 2, right? It's not just type 2X muscle fiber. Yes, that's where she's going to get that cap. She has to have this definition too. Same thing with the glutes here. You need that definition. And then you also need it to build the biggest, or not the biggest, but to get the biggest visual difference, you need to tap into all three, or you're, like I said, you're neglecting 2/3 of that muscle group. Okay. So you don't want to neglect it just as much as you make sure you know what you're focusing on. Yeah. Holy gosh, isn't she amazing? She's amazing. She's like a mom of 3, I think. She's incredible. Yeah. I don't know if Wilson has a nice bod. She hasn't shown me her flexing photos yet. So we'll see. We should get her on stage though, I think. But yeah, so that's kind of like a highlight. So obviously you could get started with that information. You might find you plateau or you're not sure which exercises to do for that body part. That's very specific. Again, I said you could get even deeper into it with form for every exercise. If you're pausing, you can get into things like drop sets to help increase results in a faster time frame. But the biggest thing, no matter what gym I walk into or what client I meet, is most of the time they were winging their workout with random reps. And does it break? See, is it doing it for you? Okay, I thought it was just my screen. I'm glad you said that. Okay. But it's not doing it right now, right? Okay. I think I fixed it. So yeah, so you can get into form, pausing, drop sets, pulses, pauses, supersets. All those are like even more tools that you can use to then stimulate change. But for the biggest thing, make sure that when you are going into the gym, you're at least focusing on the muscle group you want to work, and then the sets and the rep ranges and the tempo that's going to get you there. And that's probably the best place that you could start. And then maybe we'll do like another video where we talk about those other little tools that we can use. But did that kind of make sense? Did I explain that? Because you could get really sciencey and get all, throwing terms at people and try to sound smart. But the best educators that I've had the privilege to work with, especially like when it comes to health and things like with your body and, enzymes and DNA and APOE4 genes and methylation issues and all that stuff, like when you can dummy it down to a very basic level that someone can understand, I feel like that is the most beneficial than trying to term people to death. So I hope I dummied it down in a way that it was enjoyable. And you sound, I was hoping to sound, you know what I mean, right? Like, I'm not saying like I hope I sound dumb, but I hope I made it so it's like is a moment. Because I know for me it was a moment when I realized why I was never enjoying the benefits of the gym. It wasn't a me it was a me problem in the sense I didn't know, but it wasn't because I knew what to do and wasn't doing it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was doing and why. And then again, you're being sold these group classes or these magazines that just are for calorie burn, but they're telling you, on the other hand, squats are going to build your booty. Well, yeah, they will if you do it the right way, at the right tempo, at the right you know what I mean? And then on the back end, you got to make sure you're fueling yourself. So if you're doing all these kick-ass workouts with the right frequency, the right rep range, the right tempo, and you're not eating, you have no equipment to build your building. You have no wood. You have no nails. You just have laborers standing there going, what the French? Where's all of our stuff? We're here to work. We did all the, and then you're just paying money, and then you're just breaking down the muscle, and then you just end up with a bankrupt business. So thanks, Wilson. I hope so. I hope people can watch this and like maybe replay it too. If something I said doesn't quite make sense, I hope I brought it back around at the end and at least tied it all together so that it does kind of, because you can get down so many rabbit holes when it comes to how to stimulate muscle. And then like too, the muscle itself is so unique and just how it functions, like the mechanics of it and how things, directions and exercises, how they can stimulate it best. So you can really dive down a rabbit hole of it, which is fun if it's something that, especially like for me, my glutes, I've been down butt rabbit holes. How do I like if I, you see like the funny videos, who was it Chris sent me this video of a lady doing like the abductors, I call them yes nos. So it's the one where you're sitting in that chair and you have to squeeze the pads together and then you open your legs all wide and you're hoping nobody is standing in front of you making eye contact because it's just weird. You don't want to close your eyes either, looking like you enjoy it. So, you're doing your yes nos and you see those on Instagram and you see some fitfluencer bending over, like standing up and doing it. Like, You know, why? They don't tell you. Why do that over regular just seated like it says on the machine? So there's so many rabbit holes, things you can tweak. I like to use a lot of equipment for what it's not meant for, because when you learn the why of the exercise you're trying to do, you can see how you you can see what you need, and how other machines that are maybe meant for something else can do the same thing. And that, which makes it nice when you're going to a busy gym and you've got, dumbbell Debbie stealing all like the fives in the corner and the tens and the 20s and the 25s. And there's only like two of each. And so she's got all of them, but she needs all of them. You can't take even one of them, and you can't share with her because she's got her things, or you're, waiting for Philip the phone guy on the chest press, and he just wants to sit there and text his girlfriend all day long while he's on, the bench press. And there's only a few of those at every gym. So I'm glad you found it too, Iceman. So I would like to really go take you guys in a field trip out there and show you different ways of using machines. So if the gym is busy where you are, you can kind of look at some other stuff. You might end up on gym fails, but little do they know you're not failing. They're actually going to be like, this is the new way to do it. No, but it just makes it easy because you got to get in, you got to get out. No one has hours here unless you're 20 and you're going to college and mom and dad pay and you don't need a job and the bars aren't open yet, But for most of us, I think probably all four of us, we have shizmit to do, right? So, yeah. I personally wanted to not spend a ton of time in the gym. I wanted to make the most of my time and see the quickest results. So, especially when I found out I could change my body, I was like, okay, game on. I don't have to pay to have it altered. So, water. It's good. I drink my electrolytes right now. They're super salty. Elementy electrolytes, if anyone wants to know. That is not a paid promotion. Although if they would like to, I wouldn't mind. They're expensive. Well, that's it. I could go deeper if you guys have questions, but there's, not many of us right now. But if you watch this later, in fact, Iceman, I hope you subscribe so that you know when I do go live again, so we see you again. Otherwise, I'm gonna be mad. But if you are watching this after the fact and you do have a question, I am checking the comments and responding. So feel free to put a question in there and I will answer it the best I can to help you figure out what you should be doing. I can't design your workout for you because that's, like I said, very intentional, but I can give you guidance based on what you need. Thanks, Iceman. So I think the next live, I'm thinking probably every Tuesday and Thursday I'm going to be doing lives. I don't have my kids for a few hours those days. So it's really hard when I have the kids because I'll like schedule a live and then I have to push it because something happened. And then sometimes I'm just going to go live impromptu at home. So you can pretty much be guaranteed for the most part every Tuesday and Thursday. I plan to go live here, do some sort of informative thing. And then I think my goal is on the other days to do things from home. I won't have as much of my setup here. Not that I've got Streamlabs going and set up anyway, but I'll probably do my phone. And hopefully the internet will be amazing. And then I'll do more maybe not in real life stuff, but just conversational pieces where we're just kind of talking back and forth and whatever is, you know, about, and less of a, hey, let's look at screens and graphs and stuff like that. Because I still need to show you guys that cortisol graph, your circadian rhythm that we went over in the Hormones 101 video. But I want to do that when we go do part 2 for the next one. I'm going to kind of solidify that episode, I think, with a part 2. And then we'll go into dive a little bit deeper into types of hormones, because you actually have different types. And I don't mean like, okay, progesterone, testosterone, estrogen. I mean, like, you have sex hormones, you know, so there's very different, you have stress hormones, very different hormones meant for different things. And so I can kind of show you how that breaks down visually. It's much easier than trying to verbalize it, even in a dummied down way. So you're welcome, Red. You're welcome. We should go over abs too, Red, and why I don't have my clients do a bunch of them. I mean, you can kind of guess. I guess I could kind of talk about that right now because it fits really into what we're talking about. But even with body weight, you're building muscle, right? When you're creating resistance to the muscle, especially if you do a lot and over time. So that type 1 muscle fiber, if you add weight to your ab exercises, you will build out, right? So that waistline, for most people, the shape, again, it all comes back to shape. Forget the scale. How do you want to be shaped? You know? And so for most people, they don't want a wide waistline. Like I said, for me, I'm a 2x4. I'm very straight. So I have to be very careful with the oblique exercises that I do, where, you know, you're crossing over or anything like that. I don't do any weighted ab exercises. If I do ab exercises, it's very intentional for the lower ab, especially because of babies and bringing my pelvic core, kind of restoring my pelvic core, but not building out, because I need that waistline. Bye, Iceman. Thank you. Lane pipe. That sounds so funny. I'm super stoked. Thank you. Yeah. Much love. Come back. But yeah, you don't want your abs to build out. So that's where I say abs are made in the kitchen when you get lean. Because even if you did do weighted ab exercises and built those ab muscles, you're not going to see them underneath a layer of fat. It's just going to look even wider and bigger. So try to keep ab exercises very minimal and to body weight only, unless you want that blocky ab, kind of like that CrossFit ab look, right? Where they've got like a turtle shell. Oh, he's a plumber. Laying pipe. Sounded different when you typed it. When I read it. I think you guys know what joke I was thinking. Yeah. Anyway. He's a different kind of plumber. But yes. So abs, minimal. Very minimal. And that's for most people. You do need core strength, but you don't need to train them. So I think that does it, though. That's another hour and 35-minute stream, y'all, of talking about just reps and sets. Red, I think you had a question on Discord. Was it? No, maybe not. Yeah, I think that's it then. But Tuesdays, Thursdays, information. Other days, impromptu conversational fitness pieces. Yeah. And maybe some field trips. I don't know. Would you guys want me to live stream or upload video? So upload videos of like the workouts in the morning, or would you rather wait until you guys can interact and ask questions and I can take you out there to the gym? Because I own this gym. This is my gym. So I can take you out there and I can turn the music all the way down so you can hear me. And then we can go through whatever pieces of equipment. We can go through one at a time. I could make a playlist where it's like workout machines. And we'll just go through each and every machine. And I'll be like, you can do this, you can do this, don't do this, do this, do this, do that. Would you guys benefit? That would be fantastic. Okay. Now you would want that to be interactive though. Yeah. Like I don't think that'd be a good thing to just like post and then you guys watch, because that's like basically Instagram. So I think having it interactive where you can ask questions or ask for a different viewpoint or whatever, I think that might be best. Yeah. Yeah. No weighted abs. Pilates is good. Oh, you moving? I just moved. I hate moving. But when I move, I start packing the moment I think we might be moving. I start getting boxes. I start doing all that. Yeah. Break into 2 streams, upper and lower. So I even think it's going to be like 100 streams because my husband would know, but we have 100 pieces of equipment here. I mean, this gym's 10,000 square feet almost. So it'll be like, we could literally go. I might as well just go in depth, right? I'll just go through each machine. Maybe if like one machine doesn't take that long, we go to 2 machines or 3 machines. And then 2, we could go free weight exercise. Like the world is our oyster with it. We could do everything. And again, it's my gym, so I can like, excuse me, we're filming here. Not that I love our members. I'm so not like that, but they would understand. And the cool thing is our gym. So we're not like a standard 24-hour fitness where we like to cattle people in. We're very exclusive. So, and we price ourselves that way so that it stays that way. It's a nice gym. But we're not busy. Because the people that come here like I said, they're not here for a meat market. They want to come in. It's like busy CEOs, owners. There's actors and YouTubers and all kinds of stuff. And they don't want to be talked to and they don't want to be seen. So they really don't mind if I were to say, hey, I'm going to film right here. So we can go through every piece of equipment. I don't know if I'm not going to take this thing, but I have the little wireless mic that'll attach to my phone. And I'm going to do a burner phone so that I can chat. I was noticing Nove did that yesterday too. And I already had one kind of set up. And I think that's what I'm going to do when I go take you guys on field trips is I'll just have the burner phone so I can chat because I can't see the chat when I'm on the phone. So that way I can make sure I'm answering your questions about the machine. Oh, sorry. See, everyone has to say something. I'm new, remember. I am new at this. Did Carly accept her wrench? Now, you all cannot chat on any other chats. You are strictly mine. Just kidding. And I'm not going to tell you when I'm going live. I'm not going to give you a heads up. You just have to be psychic and know. And you better be here because I need you, but I don't need you. I do everything, you do nothing, but I need you here or you're fired. Okay? And you can't have opinions about anything at all. But you're all mods. Iceman's going to be the only one that comes back that's not a mod. I love it though. Oh, and you know what's funny? And so I was looking at the analytics of the recent videos. There's a lot of not subscribers that are viewing these videos. So all you non-subscribers, it's okay. You can subscribe. I won't tell. No one knows. You can set your subscriptions to private and you can just still watch and be alerted. You don't have to lurk weirdly. Just hit subscribe. I know you watching. Just do it. I should. Well, so the subs only mode would only matter if they want to chat. And right now we're only chatters. I think some people are lurking because they're nervous to chat. Don't be nervous to chat. Or they don't want to be known that they're watching, which is okay too. Still subscribe. Just so you know when I go live. Just it's for you. No one has to know. Dude, it's like 40%. And 40% is a lot when I only have a few, right? That's like so there's it kind of dwindles things down there for you. Anyway. Okay. Any suggestions for Thursday? Otherwise, I'm just gonna kind of pray about it and see. Like initially I was gonna do the fitness and family thing. And then I just honestly, I'm going to be honest here. I felt like God was telling me that's not what I want you to talk about. You need to teach them. They're here to learn and know what you know, not know how healthy people make healthy families, because I think we all know that. So I deleted it and was like, that's stupid. Not that it's a stupid topic, but just it's not. Yeah. So help me with ideas of things that you want to learn about. I know. Well, I know that, but like to ask me questions. So your questions, like, what do you go to look up? Or like when you go to the gym or when you think about getting started, what are some questions that you think about? Obviously, you guys probably didn't even think that reps and sets matter. So you would be like, why is reps and sets important? Because no one would know to probably ask that question. But you might be surprised what your questions can help spark as far as ideas of what might help you. But I think these more informational pieces like is what I really need to focus on. And then, you know, the lackadaisical chilling at home, like we can do talking about like fitness and life and, you know, workout clothes or whatever, more conversational stuff. But like for actual knowledge and really like bearing down and sharing screens and stuff. Oh, thanks, Red. It's okay. Girl, I can't tell you how many times I have to be reminded to like a video I'm watching that I totally like. I'm like, oh crap, and I exit out and I go hit the like. It happens every time, and then so yeah, you just it's so yeah. I'm glad you subbed. Subscribe, hit the like, share. Maybe that's how Iceman found me. Is you guys were all so awesome and liking it and sharing it, and then you know we popped up on his feed. I wonder if I pop up on anyone else's feed. That'd be funny. Need to lose weight? Have man boobs? Tried the water and French fry diet lately and it didn't work? Ran out of shrimp? That's so cool, Wilson. I thought for sure maybe you shared it, or I thought maybe someone like Red maybe shared it. That would be funny. Yeah, that's really cool. That means YouTube is giving me a like a little virtual high five or a thumbs up. Maybe not a high five yet. We're still getting to know each other, but I think YouTube maybe gave me a little wink, like keep going, girl. So yes, you can, Red. Yes, you can. And it shouldn't matter anyway. It's like when people, dude, okay, so I dated this guy. This makes me, I've dated a few guys, but not like that. But I've dated guys. And my biggest pet peeve, because I'm a stage 5 clinger. So the people I've dated, I like really date them. And it's usually for a while. Like I wouldn't just like date for like a week or two. And when I became friends with their friends, I was friends with their friends. I wasn't fake friends. I built a friendship. And so if, obviously not if, but when we broke up, I was told to not be friends with their friends. Well, I'm sorry. I'm friends with them. Like, oh yeah, the steak. Yes, and chicken. Yes, so that'll be one. You know what? That'll be one of the ones that we do at home because that's where my kitchen is. I'll do those cooking videos. Yeah, we'll do. What would be best is on the weekend for those because that's usually right after I go grocery shopping. But yeah, Red, I don't like it when people say you can't be friends with their friends if they break up. That's stupid. You can chat anywhere you want to chat. Yeah, or ruining. Yes, Nat, you get it, girl. You get it. It's just you don't own them, and just grow up. It may be awkward for you to see that I'm friends with your friends, but grow up. We're all friends. Anyway, that always made me mad. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're all friends here. So food is a good one. That's Wilson. Thank you. That's a great reminder. Nutrition and how we cook our food is one of the biggest questions I get. How do you cook it? What's your recipe? How much? All that. Meal prep is huge. Maybe I do like Food Friday or something. Or like meal prep Monday. Something catchy like that. Well, what would be cool is if we could all eat lunch together and watch a car chase. I wouldn't do that. That would be delving into other areas. Leave that for the pros. Plus, you don't want to see me sharing a screen or finding different links to where we should go. It would be chaos. Um, all right. Well, I'm gonna unalive this video. I'm gonna end it. We're gonna unlive ourselves here. That doesn't sound right. We're gonna end the stream. But Thursday is going to be my next planned YouTube. Not, be careful eating on screen or chewing gum. Uh-uh. A coworker of mine used to chew ice and gum. And she wasn't just a coworker, she was my superior. So I couldn't say shit. I just had to sit there and poke my ears out with pencils. And it was all day. Ice and then gum. And then ice and then gum. And then ice and then gum. And she had kids. So I thought she would know what that was like when your kids do that and they eat at the table with their mouth open. No. So with this baby, I can just imagine I was already self-conscious of my sniffles that I had, let alone no. I will never do that to you guys ever. I have gum in my bag, but I will not chew that or anything else. I did gulp water, that'll do. But I will not eat on stream. If I eat on stream, it will be muted for sure. But I'm not going to be on here for like all day lives anyway, so I'm going to stop and eat. To be honest, I'm self-conscious with people looking at me eat anyway. I'm sure it's not a pretty sight. I usually don't like to watch people eat, but yeah. All right, y'all. Should we wait 10 minutes and hit the 2-hour marker and just find something to talk about for 10 minutes? Maybe someone will go live so that when I go off, they can go on. Oh, I should find out how to do is how to transfer you guys to other people. So like if Nove went live or someone, I could just be like, here you go. Here's all 5 of my people. He is live? Oh no. Now I feel bad. Not like I'm taking his live, but I'm taking his Wilson. Oh no. I'm so yeah, me too. I'm super, yeah. Spaghetti. I will not order spaghetti in front of people. Oops, I feel so bad. Nova's live. Okay, so we're not gonna wait 10 minutes. I'll meet y'all on Nove's live because he's funnier and no need to hear me bullshit about nothing. Thursday for sure. I won't be at home, so nothing kitchen related. How can I? I don't know. Can you tell me how I triple my views? I need to go to 18, please. But anyway, hit the like, subscribe. If you can, share it. If you know someone that works out that maybe doesn't have a game plan, maybe this will help them. Shoot them a share. That's cool. I'll wave hi at the end. Tell me their name or something. We'll say hi next time. But Thursday, if you have anything that I can help you with as far as the gym is concerned, not the kitchen. Kitchen I'll do when I'm at the live at home. Let me know. Otherwise, I will just pray about the next one and think of things that I think might be helpful and informational for you guys and can get y'all like better suited for the gym. So a workout, yeah. It really can. I think so too. Because even a lot of people that have been working out for years don't know. So, yeah. So, all right, y'all. Well, I'll see y'all in Nove's live then because that's where I'm headed. Okay. Thank you for coming. I will see you all later.